My name is Miriam. I was 14 years old the day my life changed forever. It was the 3rd of March 2016 when they brought a man to our home and told me I would marry him. I had barely learned what it meant to love or to laugh without fear, but suddenly my childhood ended. I was born in a small city in Iran. My father was strict, religious, and proud of his heritage. He told me many times that my duty was to obey, to be silent, and to follow the rules of our faith without question. My mother was quiet, always busy with household work, and she showed me how to survive with little love and fewer smiles. I had 2 younger brothers, and I remember how I had to care for them, cook, clean, and study at the same time. School was a place of rules and fear. My teachers showed me that mistakes could bring shame. I loved learning, especially reading stories and imagining another life, but even that was limited. My life was carefully measured, my every step watched, my every word recorded. Freedom was a word I did not know. That first marriage was just the beginning. He showed me quickly that I had no voice. He told me I could not refuse, and he punished me when I cried. My body ached, my heart trembled, and the walls of the house became my cage. Every night I prayed silently, hoping someone, anyone, could hear me, but there was no one. The fear did not end with him. Over the next 5 years, I would be forced into other marriages. Each man carried his own rules, punishments, and ways to break me. Some hurt me with words, others with their hands. I had to learn to survive in silence, hiding tears behind closed doors, hiding pain beneath forced smiles. Even when I thought I could breathe, the chains of culture and religion pulled me back. Every day felt like walking through fire. I could not go outside freely, I could not speak freely, and I could not dream freely. The world around me demanded obedience, submission, and invisibility. I was trapped, a bird in a cage too small to move. And yet, somewhere deep inside, a small spark of hope refused to die. After my first marriage, they told me I would have to marry again. My heart sank like a stone thrown into a dark well. Each man who came into my life was different, but all carried one truth. I had no freedom, no choice, no voice. The second husband showed me fear in a new way. He revealed his anger with every glance, every word, every touch. He punished me when I did not obey quickly enough. I learned to move like a shadow, quiet, careful, small. At night, I hid in the corner of the room, listening to him walk back and forth, praying silently that the walls themselves would protect me. The third husband was cruel in silence. He showed me that even when no one hit me, words could cut deeper. He whispered that I was nothing, that my prayers were meaningless, and that I belonged only to him. I felt like a bird with broken wings, unable to fly, trapped in a cage too tight for hope to survive. The fourth husband tried to change me, to bend my spirit completely. He told me I had to obey every rule of the house, every expectation of our religion, every command he gave. I was exhausted. My body ached, my mind screamed for escape, but the walls, the neighbors, and the fear of shame held me in place. The fifth husband was the hardest. He punished me for mistakes I did not even know I had made. He showed me that obedience was never enough, and that love was a lie. My tears were my secret companions, my prayers whispered into empty walls. Every day I carried bruises, on my skin, on my heart, and in my soul. Through all 5 marriages, I never had a moment of peace. I could not go outside freely, I could not speak freely, I could not breathe freely. Each home felt like a prison, each man a guard of my suffering. My childhood was gone, my youth was stolen, I became invisible, a shadow moving quietly so as not to be noticed. Yet even in the darkness, a tiny spark refused to die. I remembered the stories of a man who loved those who suffered, who came to help the broken, who could give freedom to the trapped. That spark was all I had, but it was enough to keep me alive, even when the world seemed determined to break me completely. I was 16. The fifth husband had left me alone in a locked room after a fight I did not even understand. The walls smelled of smoke and old wood, and the air was thick and heavy. I curled up on the cold floor, my knees pressed to my chest, my body shaking from fear and exhaustion. My hands were bruised from holding them together too tightly, and my eyes were swollen from crying silently all day. I thought about all the men I had been forced to marry. Each one had left a scar on me, on my body, on my spirit, and in my heart. I remembered the second husband hitting me when I forgot to bring water quickly enough. I remembered the third husband telling me that I was worthless. I remembered the fourth husband punishing me for trying to whisper a prayer in secret. And now the fifth husband left me in the dark, proving once again that no one cared if I lived or died. In that night, alone, something inside me began to break and rebuild at the same time. I felt a strange warmth, a small spark that whispered of another way, another life. It was like a tiny light in the middle of the thick darkness, almost impossible to see, but undeniable. I remembered hearing stories from a distant relative, someone who had shown me pictures of a man who loved the weak and rescued those in pain. The thought seemed impossible. How could anyone hear me, a girl trapped in 5 marriages and years of fear? But something inside told me to hold on, to believe, even if only for a moment. I prayed in secret. I prayed with my hands pressed together, my lips barely moving. I could not speak aloud. I had learned that voices could bring punishment. But in that moment, it felt like someone, somewhere, heard me. I felt a presence, gentle yet powerful, surrounding me, as if the heavy chains that bound me were loosening even just slightly. That night changed everything. It was the first moment I realized that my story was not over. I might be trapped in my body and in my home, but my spirit could start to move. Something bigger than fear was at work, and even though I could not see it fully yet, I knew it was real. I was 17, and the fifth husband had left for a trip. The house was quiet, but the walls still smelled of fear and control. I moved carefully, as if each step could trigger punishment, even though he was gone. I found a small corner by the window where the sun touched the floor, and I sat there, trembling, thinking about all the years I had been trapped. I saw the bruises on my arms, the scars hidden beneath my clothes, and the exhaustion written deep into my eyes. My body felt like a cage, but my spirit, the tiny spark I had held on to, began to breathe. That morning, someone came to me. She showed me kindness, something I had almost forgotten existed. She revealed that there were people who could help, people who believed in freedom, people who knew about the one who loved even the most broken. She told me it was okay to hope, to pray, to believe that I could be free. I could hardly imagine it, but the thought made my chest lift, my eyes tear, and my heart whisper that maybe, just maybe, life could be different. The escape was not easy. I had to hide, move quietly, and trust people I barely knew. Each moment was full of fear, fear of being caught, fear of punishment, fear of returning to the darkness I had lived in for years. My body shook with each step, My heart pounded in my chest like a drum of war, and my mind raced with memories of the men who had tried to break me. But I kept moving, holding on to the thought of freedom, holding on to the tiny spark that had never died. When I finally stepped into a place where I could breathe freely, I wept like I had never wept before. I cried for the girl I had been, for the pain, for the fear, and for the years stolen from me. But I also cried with hope, with gratitude, and with a quiet joy that maybe my life could be my own. I felt a presence surrounding me, gentle but powerful, showing me that I was loved, that my suffering mattered, and that the one who never sleeps had not abandoned me. Now I share my story so the world can know the truth about the kind of persecution some face for their faith, for their choices, and for the courage to seek freedom. I want Christians everywhere to pray for those who are trapped, for those who are hurting, and for those who long for peace. And for anyone who feels lost, who has sinned or wandered, I want you to know there is a simple prayer that can change your life. You can pray quietly from your heart. Jesus, I believe you love me. Please forgive my sins, guide me, and help me follow you. Thank you for giving me life and hope. Your prayer matters, your hope matters, and those who are trapped, alone, or suffering need your heart and your voice. Stand with them, lift them, and never forget that even in the darkest prison, a spark of faith can set you free. Even in the darkest moments, hope can find a way. Life may feel heavy, unfair, and full of chains we cannot see or touch, but every heart carries a spark, a small light that refuses to die. That spark may be tiny, almost invisible, but it has the power to guide us through fear, pain, and despair. We may face people who do not understand us, rules that feel impossible, and situations that seem hopeless. We may be hurt, silenced, or trapped in ways that make the world feel empty. But the human spirit is stronger than we think, and the one who sees our suffering never turns away. Even when no one else seems to care, someone is watching, listening, and waiting to bring healing. When we are broken, it is okay to cry. It is okay to feel weak, but we must never let fear stop us from moving toward light. Even a small step, a quiet prayer, or a simple act of faith can change everything. Miracles often begin in silence, in the hidden corners of our hearts, when we choose to trust and to hope. For those who are hurting, trapped, or lost, remember, you are not alone. There are people who care, and there is a God who loves you deeply, who can lift the chains and bring peace. And for those who have wandered from the path, it is never too late to start again. A simple prayer, whispered from the heart, can open the door to freedom, forgiveness, and love. Let us lift our voices for those who cannot speak. Let us pray for the persecuted, the hurting, and the lost. Let us never forget that even the smallest spark of faith can grow into a light that changes a life. Jesus, help me, guide me, and give me hope. Let me trust you and walk in your love.